Welcome on the brick field. I'm Brickmeat and this is my KV-6 MOC. This was my first attempt at building a KV-6 from multiple Quan models, and honestly, I was already pretty happy with it. But if there's one thing the internet does exceptionally well, it's pointing out every little flaw in something you were just starting to feel proud of. The biggest issue was the connection between the turrets. From a distance it works, but up close? Yeah, rudimentary is probably the polite word. Another major point was the missing elevation of the main turret, and that one really affects the whole silhouette. So in this video I want to improve the model by combining spare parts from the donor sets with a custom part I designed especially for this build. And this custom part was printed on my new Creality K2 Combo Plus, who also sponsored today's video. But before we get to the big centerpiece, let's start with the two outer turrets and get rid of this absolutely terrible gap. That should be the easy part, at least compared to the completely unreasonable engineering decision I saved for later. The good news is that the outer turrets don't need a fully custom printed solution. A few part swaps, a little rebuilding, and suddenly the whole thing looks much cleaner. And just like that, the turrets now sit directly on top of each other, without that awkward wobbly tower of bricks construction. That already looks a lot better, doesn't it? Let me know in the comments what you think. And if you still have more ideas for improving this thing, tell me. Apparently that's how version 2 of this tank was born in the first place. The turret layout has been adjusted and now looks much closer to the images you usually find online. That alone already makes the whole tank feel more like the exaggerated KV-6 people actually expect. The rocket launcher also gets a small facelift with a few more details. And it now sits on the last turret at the rear. There are different versions of the KV-6, depending on which image you look at. Some show only one rear turret, while others show two. I decided to go with two, because it fits the absurd spirit of this machine much better. And let's be honest, if you're already building a tank like this, subtlety is no longer part of the plan. Now for the most important change, raising the center turret. For that I designed a custom part in FreeCAD and printed it on the Creality K2 Plus Combo. The printer was provided by Creality, and I have to admit this thing had been on my wishlist for quite a while. For this project I'm not even remotely using the full build volume. The K2 Plus offers a huge 350 square millimeters build area, which is massive for projects, far beyond small detail parts like this. One of the most interesting features is the CFS system. It lets you print in multiple colors without constantly swapping filament by hand, or simply keep different materials loaded and ready to go. RFID-enabled spools are automatically recognized by the system, which makes setup much easier. So let's start the print with print speeds up to 600 mm per second. Even more complex projects can be finished in a very reasonable amount of time. And for prototype work like this, that matters a lot. Because if your first version doesn't fit, and let's be honest, it usually doesn't, you really don't want to wait forever for every new attempt. Once the print is finished, the automatically generated supports can be removed pretty easily, and with a bit of simple cleanup, the result can be refined even further. Of course, matching the exact color of the original model is a bit tricky. There are plenty of filament types and colors available, but in this case I wanted the part to blend in as naturally as possible. So instead of relying only on printed color, I used tiles from the donor models and attached them to the printed part. And now it finally looks properly round. That already feels much closer to something that could have come straight from an actual set. If an actual set designer had completely lost control of the situation. Now all that's left is preparing the hull and turret. That mostly means swapping out a few parts, so the printed center section and the reused tiles can integrate cleanly with the existing turret and hull. And here is the result. This is the new silhouette compared to the old one, and I think that's a real improvement. The main turret now sits higher, the spacing looks much better, and the whole model feels a lot closer to the exaggerated KV-6 look from drawings and games. So what do you think? Is it a real upgrade? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next video. Bye.